Well, he lived his life out of the public eye. So when everybody else was up going to work and doing whatever they did in the daytime, we were sleeping. And then we would wake up at 9 o'clock at night. I mean, and after a few years...
Have breakfast at 9 o'clock?
Oh, we have breakfast at 9, 10 o'clock at night. Be up all night, rent movie theaters, watch movies, do whatever we did all night. And the next morning...
He was loyal to his friends, right?
Very loyal to his friends.
Was he going through weight cycles then?
Yeah, he always battled his weight. I mean, even when he was... Loved to eat, what Southerner doesn't, We structure our social life.
Did it bother him when he got heavy?
It did bother him, and the criticism bothered him. He was a very sensitive, acutely sensitive person to other people's perceptions of him, and it did hurt his feelings a lot.
Were you inseparable those 4 years?
We were.
Would you say you didn't see other guys, he didn't see other girls?
I certainly didn't see any other guys.
You think he saw other girls?
I know he saw other girls.
We had rented the mayor's house at Fort Hood and at some exorbitant price. That's when Red came back, and Vernon was fooling around with 2 or 3 different women then, remember? Elvis had come back from the post. You or I, either one, would cover for him. Look, he said, he got mad at me one day. He called me in the living room, and he said, you are lying to me. I said, about what? He said, Daddy. And I said, what about him? He said, see, you're lying right now. And I said, I'm not lying to you. He said, yeah, you are. He said, he's fooling around with some women. And I said, yeah, and he got really upset about it. And I said, Elvis, come on. I mean, the guy's... He said, well, I didn't expect him to start fooling around with somebody this quick. And when Elvis and his daddy fought, it was really bad. And Gladys and him getting a fight, it was different. But boy, when Vernon and Elvis getting a fight, it was one of those bad... Because Vernon had a very sharp tongue. And he could...
He had his own ego, too. Buddy.
Yes, sirree. And when they got in an argument, I mean, boy, you cleared... The place cleared real fast because, it was dangerous.
You mentioned you were there at so many of those performances we've just been watching. What was that like for you as his wife, watching the women going completely and utterly crazy for your husband?
I always looked down off for the pretty ones because they would always put the pretty girls, really pretty girls, all in the two front rows. But yes, but yeah, that was part of the deal, And Elvis used to always say he wanted the pretty girls there to have someone to react to because they were the ones that would go crazy.
But they all wanted to kiss him, touch him.
They all did. Even
and I'm
the
a very
older
jealous woman. I would find that hard. Did you find that hard?
Yeah, it was difficult, but of course that's part of the show, and the fans loved it. And Elvis loved to tease very much so. He would see somebody pretty, and he'd pretend to go up there and kiss somebody else. He had a great sense of humor. He loved playing with the audience, and he was brilliant at it.
There were so many people mourning in front of me, fainting. His body was in the house for 3 days, and there was something very oddly comforting about that, which made it not necessarily real for me, as I stayed in there with it almost the whole time. We can stop.
We were devastated.
I can't say. I'm missing. And when he died, a part of me died.
All the cards and letters that you have sent since the passing away of my son, Elvis, have been a great help to me and the family during this time of grief.
They were still trying to live a single life, and Elvis was trying to, have a family life. He wanted the best of both worlds.
Can't have that.
Not when you're married.
True that he didn't sleep till very late.
He had a very hard time sleeping.
What brooded him? What got him to drugs and depression? And he had all that, right? I mean, he had to fall into that. We wonder when you see someone that's successful.
Yeah, that was an addiction that started in the Army.
In the Army?
In the Army, yes.
In Germany?
In Germany.
So you knew of it then?
I did, but it wasn't anything like later in life. I mean, he convinced himself he had to have Dexedrine to stay awake. So.
And did he take something to go to sleep?
And he took something to go to sleep. That was part of his life.
Was he a drinker?
No.
Wasn't into alcohol?
No.
when people come to Memphis because they come to see Graceland, is there another spot? I know you guys spent so much time here, but is there a spot around the city that people have to check out too, or that you love to go see?
Well, we go to Malcolm Theater all the time. The Orpheus we also went to at times, you know, oh my gosh, Malco Theater, Memphian, Crystal's Hamburgers. I don't know, is Crystal still there? I don't know if it is or not. But
Crystal's was your spot?
Yeah, well, it wasn't our spot. That's where we order our hamburgers from, because it was very small hamburgers.
Right.
And when we were sitting in the movie theater, the one that he would rent, Memphian, the hamburgers were so small, because he didn't like big things to eat, so that comes to mind.
That's your favorite. Is there a favorite memory that you have? Is there something coming back here? I'm sure you're flooded with them, but is there a favorite story you like to tell about him?
It'd take too long.
Yeah. You've got too many.
Too many.
I'm sure. What do you tell your grandkids about him?
They know who their grandfather is.
With Colonel Parker, did you ever make peace with him?
I did. There was two colonels. There was the colonel who was the manager, and there's colonel that was, you know, very, very sweet and very, very nice. I mean, he took care of both his wives. The first one who passed away, he was always there for her, and also his second wife as well. I had dinner with them, and actually Elvis did too, in Palm Springs. And so there was two sides to him: the business, and of course the very gentle side, where he's not working and not, doing anything in show business, I should say. But yes, there was two sides to him. And he was actually, I think it was more, he had to live out what Elvis wanted to do, or he promised Elvis, and that was he was going to make him $1 million, and he wanted to live up to what he promised Elvis.
The king of rock and roll. Did he always think he would be at the top? Had he got confidence in who he was, or did he ever worry or fear it would disappear?
He did worry. He worried when he was in the Army, coming back to the States after being drafted. He was out of the limelight for 2 years. He didn't know if the fans would still be supporting him, if he'd lost all his fans, because newer upcoming, rockers were coming up. Even when he did the '68 special, nerve-wracking, and he wanted to stop right then and there. He didn't feel that he was going to, be able to perform the way that they saw him, because he had grown up or matured. Yeah. And of course, going into Vegas, you couldn't talk to him before the show. You didn't go into his dressing room. He had to do his own mental, emotional, how could I say, like a meditation for himself to get out there. But once he was on that stage, you would never know it, because he enjoyed it so much and loved it.
Priscilla, was he not at ease meeting new people?
No, he wasn't. He loved having his family and friends around him. He was comfortable, he was secure. He knew everyone, they knew him. He was able to do what he wanted, when he wanted. Everyone understood. He could throw his temper tantrums. No one would condemn him. He was at ease. He was around people that were with him for a long period of time. Where most people have friends and may see them throughout a lifetime, here and there. Elvis liked his friends with him, because then you can share and you can do and be who you want. He loved having his family and friends around him. He wasn't comfortable having someone that he didn't know very well come in.
If you had a problem, could you sit with Elvis? Would he take the time to listen to what was aching you? And could he comfort you?
I very rarely went to him with any problems. It's a very strange relationship. It was a love, but I never wanted to upset him because he took it so hard. If I were to come to him with a problem, it would hurt him deeply. So I worked it out myself.
That must have been very tough on you.
It was tough. But you make it, and you're able to weigh what you want most. Elvis's happiness meant a lot to me.